There we go. That's what I want to hear. Salaam alaikum.
Alaikum salam, salam and salam. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank Allah.
Alhamdulillah.
All the
Hey,
way. How are you and your people, your family and people?
I can't complain, Another day in paradise.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Never ending day.
Yep, yep. I'm glad we were able to connect. So,
Yes. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
interesting.
So
Very-
give me another rundown of who you are, where you are,
well,
and
I'm here located in Maryland, close to Washington, D.C.
yes.
As far as a little bit background, I guess, about me, my family were originally from Saudi Arabia. The Prophet Muhammad of Islam, I guess, right? He's my grandfather from my mother's side, basically. His daughter Fatima and my Ali would be my great grandfather, father, and a little bit further down, I come from Hussein, Imam Hussein's bloodline.
Yes.
So I'm kind of coming from the Banu Hashim tribe of Saudi Arabia,
Mhm.
Quraysh. Um, you know, that's a quick little rundown, I guess.
Yep. Well, that's
I was
prestigious.
born myself in Kashmir. I've been in the United States, what, since fourth grade, third grade, fourth
Okay.
grade. So New York, Queens, then here.
All of my old stomping grounds. I'm
There you
originally from New York, and
go.
when I was in New York, the last place I lived was Queens.
There you go. Yeah, we was over by Flushing Ave, Jamaica
Yeah,
Ave, around that
we
area.
might have been down the block from each other. But we're in North Carolina now. We've been here for about 7, 8 years.
Yeah. And like I told you the first time I reached out to you over the phone very briefly, I personally didn't know who you were, what your Nunetics, anything. Somebody had sent me a video of your Muhammad protocol and not a human or something. That's
Yeah,
what kind of
yeah,
caught my eye.
yeah. The prototype.
Because
Yeah,
the reason I mentioned my background, right? Not to kind of not to like brag on it or anything, but it was more so like, yeah, look, I come from like the DNA in me is part of this tribe, part of this family, and I don't see him as a so-called how the religion of Islam has kind of made him out to be a
yes.
very big last prophet of God or so forth and so on. And the reason I say that is because in the kitab, in the book, how he's mentioned and attributes and things, and I'm like, yeah, that's not my grandfather, because my grandfather's obviously a human. I'm a human. There's a DNA, and there was very compelling evidence that this Muhammad Rasulullah versus the Prophet Muhammad from Islam. These are two different entities, and for some reason they've
It
been
got
mingled to
conflated.
make it
Yep.
to make it one. But the super clarity was Muhammad Rasulullah. That verbatim, those words, that's somebody different from Muhammad ibn Abdullah,
Yes.
the son of Abdullah. So, and it was just, it was just when I saw your video about the whole protocol, Muhammad, that's what kind of caught my attention. And I looked into you. I was like, definitely want to chat with you
Yeah.
and see how I can kind of bring this Nunetics school of thought, this thing that you got going on here, how I can apply it with clarifying some understandings with the kitab and whatnot, So
Yeah.
not not here to debate or prove anybody
Not
right or
at
wrong.
all.
I just
I don't
wanted
do
to
debates.
see the way I look is I see like I understand that there's falsehood mixed with truth in everything in this world. You'll find some truth, even if somebody tells you a story. There's some truth and then there's some spices and like, little things
Sure.
mix into
Sure.
it. And then I realized Quran is the only place, book, or whatever, however you want. This is the only place where you will find 100% truth with zero
Yes.
falsehood.
Yes.
So I was like, let me chat with him, pick his brain a little bit,
Hmm.
and yeah, that's how are you? How are you feeling? I know you were
Yeah, a
down
little
for
bit
this.
under the what would they say, under the weather, I guess.
Yeah,
I have to think about these sayings that they come up with because there's always a little trick in them somewhere. Say he's under
yeah,
the weather. But I've been
absolutely.
well. I think a lot been good. My only issue is that I speak so often that the
Yeah.
voice just begins to, wear and tear a little bit.
There you go.
But other than that, besides a common cold or something else that might come across any one of us, I'm fine. As long as my spirit is lifted and as long as I have good thoughts to think about, I'm good to go, man.
Absolutely.
I'm good to go.
There you go.
So
That's
yeah. So we can begin by any initial questions that you might have or topic of conversation or whichever way it is you want to go with it. And some of what I'm going to say you probably know already,
sure.
based on the one or two videos or however many you've seen thus far, that I don't teach the traditional method of teaching. The traditional method of teaching for most teachers is obviously going to be academic. And
Yeah.
academics is going to introduce somebody's mindset, somebody's theory. I'm not trying to teach about theories. I'm trying to teach about the fitrah.
Practical. Yeah.
Basically, the only thing that Allah compares this deen to is his fitrah. So I'm
Okay.
not going to be busy trying to introduce Imam Ghazali or Imam whoever. I'm not going to be, not that they weren't valuable, they are. They were and
Yes.
still are valuable in terms of learning the lessons of what this deen represents in us, not in history.
Yeah.
See, in history, that knowledge benefited those people who were living it experientially. We're not 1,500 years ago.
Yeah.
We're
Absolutely.
we're we're now and going into the future. So the issues that we are dealing with are issues that are addressing. I don't even like to use the term modern because what is time? I mean, that's also a human fabrication to speak about yesterday or tomorrow, which we don't know is going to actually even come and is based on hours of the day that people actually fabricated as far as the time goes. 2 weeks from now, how do I know?
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, we're in the now, right now. So I'm trying my best to situate my life around the present day circumstances. Not that there's not a history, not that it's not valuable. It's just not as valuable for me living in what they call 2025. I have questions about that. But
Yeah.
we're here dealing with a reality that doesn't depend on time. They give us third dimensional you know, time, but they don't teach us about fourth and fifth dimensional time. So this is
Absolutely.
this is the stuff that our modern day scientists are into, are curious about. And if we would become more curious about them, we would have less fear about living in this day and time. We wouldn't have the fear, not even of death, if we understood what time actually is, and how to allow time to regulate our affairs. The Quran is all about time, but the Quran never says Muhammad lived 1,400 years ago.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It never says Musa lived 5,000 years ago. These are
Yeah.
signatures that are put on scripture by men. So as far as I'm concerned, we have to treat the Quran not too much differently than the way we treat the Hadith. Many of them are valuable as lessons to be learned from things that may have happened or may not have happened in history. But the Quran is addressing that which is universal, as you know. The Quran is addressing that which is independent of even gender. The Quran is not addressing the women, the females.
Yeah.
If it was, it wouldn't be a book for humanity. If you leave a part of humanity out of it,
Absolutely.
why would
Absolutely.
Allah speak to her through us
Yeah.
when he can just speak to her? He created her just like he created us.
Yeah.
So those are the issues that we're dealing with on this side of the planet.
I'm with you 100%. Me personally, I like to stay in the four corners of the book as well. All this other these, like you said, I respect everybody's theories and works and sacrifices they have made, but in layman's terms, it's like, what it really got to do with me? I'm in the here
Yeah.
and the now, so And I do believe that this kitab is a timeless book. You can't imprison this book in a particular time period because it's applicable today. It's applicable 10 generations from now,
Yes.
thousands years from now, if everything is still here. But yeah, I'm with you so far
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
this book is more than what it's made out to be,
Yeah.
or being covered up, like the book itself says.
Yeah.
So
I think the majority of the problem is, first of all, I don't think you gave the audience who may be seeing this or may not be seeing this or whatever, your name, your full name, or and
oh, my name's Ali, Afnan Ali Shafiq,
Mhm.
full name, but I go by Ali. It's easier.
Yeah,
You can pronounce, yeah.
that's easy enough for us to remember because we had a
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali in our history.
There
So,
you go. There you go.
yeah. Uh, so as you can probably tell, I'm from a community situation of mostly African Americans. I grew up in the community under Elijah Muhammad initially.
Okay, okay.
I never joined the Nation of Islam. I didn't know Malcolm X. I was very young when he was assassinated. And I didn't know Elijah Muhammad, but I read some of his teachings and I was drawn to it, not for any racial reasons, as many people may have been. I was
Yeah,
drawn to it because of the community closeness that those people had. I wasn't one of those children who needed a daddy figure. You know, I had a father figure all my life.
alhamdulillah. Okay.
Uh, I wasn't one who needed any extra mothering. I had all of the mothering I needed. I didn't need a mother from outside of my family to mother me. I was attracted to the information, and it was in 1975 when Elijah Muhammad's son, one of his sons, uh, called Wallace D. Muhammad. He took over his father's leadership when his father passed in 1975.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah, he became the successor to his father. And a lot of the people didn't like that because they considered his father to be too different than him, meaning Elijah Muhammad. Elijah
Yeah,
Muhammad taught a race-based ideology. Wallace D. Muhammad, he wasn't with that. He grew in a different vein, in a different direction.
got
But
you.
it's
Got
interesting. Hmm?
So I got you. Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting that the direction that he grew in was a direction that was actually encouraged by his father, even though it was different than what his father was saying. And this is what a lot of people don't know or don't want to know or know but don't want to tell other people
Yeah,
about Elijah Muhammad. His situation and his teachings were intended to be necessarily temporary. You know, it's like a baby being born. I mean, it's a wonderful miracle of life that babies are born, but who wants to stay in that stage of development?
got you. Yeah.
Who wants to stay attached to a placenta? He's in third grade. He's still carrying around the placenta. Well, that's what it is for us to carry around those things that were intended to aid us in giving birth to us and situating us and making us comfortable. But that's not where we're supposed to stay. And Elijah Muhammad called his community a baby nation. So I don't see what the problem is with people who don't want to grow up.
Okay. I didn't
And
know about that. Okay.
oh
That's good.
yeah, oh yeah. And just to cut this part short, because this is not really the main thing that I wanted to talk to you or you want to talk to me about, but this is just for a basic overview for people who, people who didn't know the history.
Yeah.
And so his son, W.D. Muhammad, Wallace D. Muhammad, he took over the organization and he began to lead us in a different direction. Because if you know anything about the Nation of Islam, you know that they were racially based and their whole existence centered around the idea of black people and white people. And the black people were the good people, and the white people were the bad people. And that's how he taught the majority of his people. But again, when I was coming up, I was never a part of that dichotomy. I never understood people who were doing good by me, meaning my white teacher, my white friends at school. I didn't understand this thing about them being the devil, all of them.
So,
That's what Elijah taught. Until I learned later on that most of his teachings were symbolic. They were not actual. They were not literal. his creation story was a myth, but in the myth was enough jewels for us to contemplate that was eventually intended to bring us out of that mindset and prepare us for a new mindset that he had prepared his son to introduce. And that's basically how that is. Now, people ask me today, well, you still following W.D. Muhammad? I'll say, no, there's no need. What's the need? I don't know. No, I needed a daddy when I was young and struggling and trying to understand the world. But that's over and done. I need to be introduced to more people like yourself, more people like uh, the people who are establishing knowledge and science in the world that's intended to take us further into the future, not to have to hold our hands into the future. That's not
Yeah.
necessary. I'm a grown man now. I don't I don't need to hold the hand of anybody's father or any man or woman to go into the future. When you have a mind, you have the same capacity that everybody else has. That's my point.
That makes
And I'm
sense.
happy to see that you are not um uh, you're an unusual guy to begin with. And I say that in a very, very positive way. Because if I was an individual who had the blood of the one they call Muhammad the Prophet running through my veins, you wouldn't be able to tell me anything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I look at you like, what, who are you trying to teach me? Do you know who my granddaddy was?
Yeah, yeah,
So
like he brought the
yeah. Well, see, this validates you to a great
yeah,
degree
no.
in my mind, because that would be the only reason somebody would try to tell you that they are the great grandson of whoever,
Yeah, yeah.
Martin Luther
That's why I
King,
wanted to make
whoever.
it clear, like, that's not my intention, it's not that. I just say that to say is it's a big misconception, misunderstanding due to political reasonings. There's more to it than just, because it would kind of contradict the book itself if that was in fact the last prophet, so called, of God and whatnot. Why? Because Allah Himself, there's a verse of, and then here's another thing about me. I know some of these verses, but I don't know the exact address. Like, hey, go to Surah
Yeah, I
this,
understand. That's fine.
So I'll paraphrase it, and if need be, we could look it up. But more or less, there's a verse where God Himself is saying, Him and His messenger, that don't make any distinctions between prophets and so forth and so
That's right.
whatnot. You know.
Yes.
But the moment that you say, "Oh, that's the last one," and so I'm like,
You've
it's just
broken
a
it.
lot of contradictions kind of come
You
out of
have
there because
violated it the second you say that.
why didn't God preserve the graves of other prophets, and why this one? Why
Yes.
this and why? So there's like a lot of, like, Sufism, Sunnism. There's like a lot of branches that kind of come out of all this, but I don't know if I lost my train of thought, but it was just little things. It was just little things, and I was like, it's a big fat lie that's being, because you know how you say something, a lie over and over, it becomes a reality. People believe it.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and for, like I said, for the longest, I did take him as the last prophet as well, just like any
Yeah.
other ordinary Islamic Muslim would. But it's
Mhm.
not until I started questioning, because that's another thing I realized in your traditional Islam household or mosque or whatever. It's like, don't question it, just follow it.
Accept it. Yeah.
But I've always, as far back as I can remember as a child, I've always questioned things. And I've also understood when you question, there's two reasons. You're either questioning somebody out of doubt, or you're questioning to gain some knowledge. So I've
Yes.
never
To
questioned
verify.
it out of
Yes.
doubt. I've always questioned it to understand it better, have it even for just my own self, because at the end of the day, I came here alone. I'm going to go out alone. I'm not going to be asked for your deeds and your actions and your
That's
whatnot. You
right.
know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So a lot of the times when I would ask questions for my own self, like I
Hmm.
want to be able to have a peace of mind, peace of heart, that I fully grasp a concept. Because sometimes you can understand something, but you don't fully grasp the deep ends of the thing, whatever it is. But so when I started asking questions, that's when a lot of things. And I'll tell you, I haven't went to no madrasas, no schools. I actually ran away from one after like 2 days. But yeah, they had given me this little scholarship. It was a funny story, but I ran away like 2 days later. I was like, yeah, this is not what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Because the one thing I noticed was, and correct me if I'm wrong, anybody anywhere who want to be a scholar, muhaddis, or whatever, you want to go to these so-called Islamic schools, first thing they'll tell you is don't you dare touch the Quran. Put that to the side. Let's focus and study on these sheikhs and their studies and their. So I'm like
Right.
technically not really teaching me the book. You're teaching me theories and ideologies of these other
Your
men.
ideology. Yes.
So that's
That's
when
what,
I realized that within the couple 2 days I was there, I was like, I'm out of here.
yeah.
Not what I'm for.
Yeah.
But past few days, me and my buddy, I briefly told you about him. He was actually from one of the Carolinas, north or south, I forget where, but he's
Mhm.
now in Seattle. Me and him we discuss verses of the Quran. So one
Yes.
thing about me is I don't bring up any hadiths, Bibles, this, that, nothing. Just stay in the four corners of this book. This book will explain itself. It says it's a complete book. So if I were to say, oh, let me go outside of this book to understand something, I'm not really, there's a faulty belief in me that how can this be a complete book, but I have to go rely on somebody or some school of thought or something. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Outside in the sense of there's a lot of things that are mentioned here, but you go outside, it will confirm it. It will kind
Mhm.
of show you like, yeah, you're on the right track. But as far as explaining something in the book, something outside of the book, I don't believe in that. Like the book says, it explains itself. So with that rule of thumb is all right, maybe there's something wrong with my school of thought. Maybe my thinking is flawed. Because the book itself is there's no mistake in it. So if I'm not understanding something, it's not
Mhm.
per
Mhm.
se the writing or the book. It's just maybe my preconceived notions or my whatever it is where it's holding me back from truly grasping the understanding of that. Long story short, we was discussing about Musa. Um, and it came like Surah Taha where it says, I'll actually pull it up too if you don't mind. But
Take your time. Sure.
basically it was, and I like to pay attention to words, right? Give me a quick second here.
Take your time.
It kind of starts off with number 9, yeah? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وهل
Mhm.
أتاك excuse me. وهل أتاك حديث الموسى. So that's a question. Has the story or the narration of Musa came to you? So at that point, I'm like, and that's another thing was I noticed traditionally it kind of focused more on like the beautifully way of reciting it and whatnot, rather than focusing on because certain verse are they're questions, and if somebody asks you a question, there should be an answer or something. That's not just a statement. There's a question, so it's asking me if the story of Musa came to me, and then the thing that I wanted to kind of embark here, like kind of tap in with you with was it says in the next verse, وَإِذْ رَأَى نَارًا, when he saw a fire, right?
Mhm.
And then it says, فَقَالَ لِأَهْلِهِ لِأَهْلِهِمْ كُثُوا إِنِّي أَنَسْتُ نَارًا.
Mhm.
Then he said to his family, stay here, indeed, I have perceived a fire. So I was like, yo, hold on a second. It said, saw, not ra'a, saw. That's like, okay, something you physically with your eyes or whatnot, right? And then I was
Mhm.
like, if I'm not mistaken, perceive is not physically seeing. Perceive is a mental, like, when in conversation we're speaking and like, you see what I'm saying? And some of yeah, I see it. I see it. It's not that we're literally, I'm trying to show you something, but
Yes.
in that, you know what I'm saying? So I was a little confused
Mhm.
too. And I was like, hey, God, bumped me into somebody that does Nunetics and letters, and so let me just go pick his brain, because I'm a very firm believer in in Surah Fatiha at the end, the contract that we make with God that show us the path of whom He is blessed,
Yes.
gifted, not the
Mhm.
ones that have earned His anger,
Yes.
and not the ones that went astray. So the way I understand that is after Fatiha from Baqarah second chapter all the way to Nas 114. Now God is going to show you who are those that are gifted and what
Yes.
kind of gifts he's blessed them. And I've started to realize some he gives them the gift of prophethood, some messengership, some wisdom, to some, there's multiple verses where God is showing you. So I'm like, okay, with that being said, I'm like, I have no doubt that God has gifted you, Mr. Benjamin Bilal, in knowledge and understanding on letters and whatnot. All five fingers in your
Alhamdulillah.
hands are not equal. I might have been given a gift of something else. Your gift is that. So I was like, yo, let me use the knowledge that he's blessed you with to kind of get some of my puzzles in places or clarify certain things. You get what I'm saying? Does that make
I
sense? Or
certainly do. I certainly do.
so yeah, I'm very big on that.
Yeah.
That it's a live book. The some people say Allah doesn't speak. I'm like, I don't know which Allah you're talking about, but
Mm.
the one in the book he's talking. He's saying Ya Yuhan Nas, all mankind, and then he's addressing Ya Mu'minun.
Yeah.
He's addressing the
Yeah.
Kafirs. Yeah, you're Kafirun. So
Hmm.
I'm like, if that's not talking, then I don't know what talking is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's where I kind of wanted to pick with you that Ra'a and then Anestu. Then there's this whole fire thing. And I'm like, if one were to take it literally, you would probably, the mental image that will come is Musa is maybe traveling or something. He sees a fire and he tells his
Yes.
family, stay here, let me go. And I'm like, on a surface level, yeah, sure. But how is that applicable in my time today? What am
Great
I
question.
supposed to, what's the guidance for me here? Because again, with Musa, it's very interesting because you recall there's another verse, I believe chapter 7, where Musa is asking God, I want to see you. And he's like, you can't see me, but I'll reveal myself, so forth to the mountain. And Musa went unconscious, and then he came back and he said, I am the first of the believers. Right? It's not that he was the first Muslim, because we know from the book there's other Muslims, Ibrahim and so forth. And what he meant by I was the first of the believers, is that no human eye can see you. I'm the first one to witness and believe that nobody, no human eye can see you. So with that, I kind of understood that we as a human being, I've had that desire, maybe you too, and others too. Like, who is God? I want to see him. Or we try to talk to him like, hey, God, help me out, and this and that. So I'm like, with that example, I can understand God is saying, like, you're going to have desires to want to see me and whatnot. But through that verse, it'll clarify, like, you can't. This is our human eye is not capable of withholding that frequency light or however. But with this one, I'm like, what is, I'm just confused to like, what is over here? Like the fire, because fire represents, you got the physical fire, literal fire, but then we use these words like, I got that fire right now, I'm on fire. And, so I'm like, could
Sure.
it be more
Metaphor.
like a mental thing, more
Mm.
like metaphorically? Because Allah does speak in metaphors, He does teach us by examples.
Mhm.
That's another thing I noticed in the kitab is the way God teaches is through examples.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, I kind of want to. What do you?
I got you. I understand.
Yeah, let's kind of go from there. Let you go ahead and.
Yeah. Well, a couple of things. And nastunar is a very important clue for understanding the Quran itself, first of all, but for understanding the specifics of what Musa is addressing, it's important to understand those parts and pieces of the statement itself. It's
Absolutely.
like trying to understand a sentence, but they don't give you the whole sentence. It's going to be impossible for you to know truly, indeed, what the person is asking you or saying to you if they don't
Yeah,
give you because the rest of the sentence might send you in a whole nother direction. So he said, "Anastunar." Now we know that that particular statement about perceiving a fire, not perceiving the fire, it's not an-nar.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
yes, and
fire,
nar.
a fire. Yeah, a fire.
Yeah, it's narin. It's any fire.
Yeah,
And the reason why it's any fire is because anybody can perceive this fire he's speaking about.
yeah,
That's the first thing. Now, people are used to hearing the term fire, especially people in religion, and their first thought is hell.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hellfire, fire. Yeah,
yeah. But they don't know that the Quran uses the term nar in various ways.
absolutely, absolutely.
And we mistake most of those ways, probably all of those ways, when it's speaking on the subject of punishment. So we hear fire and we think punishment. But when we begin to understand better what the fitrah is, that's why I keep referencing the fitrah. The fitrah has equal weight with the term al-Islam,
Sure.
right? 30-30, Surah 30, Ayat 30.
Yeah,
It has equal, it says that the fitrah is your deen. There's nothing else that we refer to as our deen other than al-Islam. So this is giving us a little extra added bonus when it comes to understanding what we should be following, if we want to call it following. I don't think it's following. I don't think religion was meant to be followed. I don't think what they've given to the majority of the world
makes sense.
should be
Th-
called religion.
yeah, not to cut you off there, but just
No,
to
go right
chime in
ahead.
on the
This is
Dean thing,
conversation.
right? Because
Mhm,
what you did, I like to do that, right? Whenever I'm speaking, I like to have
mhm.
the verses pulling up. So I pulled it
Listen,
up, and I was like, yo,
we're gonna,
I see what you're
yeah,
saying.
we're gonna go with
The
whatever
word Dean, right?
let me just say this,
Yeah,
just so you know, these are some of the rules for our conversation. You can stop me at any time
I got you.
and asking because you are seeking understanding.
Yeah,
And I'm trying to provide that understanding based on the best of my knowledge and ability and experience. If there's something that I don't know the answer to, I'm going to say, well, I don't know. I haven't researched that area of it, but this might be able to help you, and I'll insert something else. So
sure.
don't feel bad. This is not formal. We're not
Yeah, yeah,
doing a
yeah.
book on the subject. We're just
So
kicking ideas back and forth.
how do you feel for the word Dean instead of religion as judgment?
No,
Because I kind of
not in the
understood.
traditional sense of judgment.
Yeah, yeah, not in the traditional sense, but like for example, it would say, "So set your faces to the judgment upright nature made by Allah." Like, um, how am I trying to say this? Because I looked up the root word, right?
Mhm.
When you look up the root word,
Uh,
judgment is one of the meanings there, and the
mhm,
only reason I'm like having a little unrest with the religion is because Millat Ibrahim, right?
mhm, mhm.
The religion, when we see, when I use the word religion for millet,
Yes,
there's no rebuttal within me, from within my, you know what I'm saying? My heart
yes.
is like, okay, I get it. But when I say religion as in deen, then it's kind of, there's like unrest, uncertainty in my heart. But when I use the word judgment, like you have your judgment, I have my judgment, Allah has a judgment too, right? So in Allah's judgment, Islam, submission is the best way of life.
Mhm.
I don't want, maybe I'm misusing the word or something, but like even Maliki Yawmiddin, right? Master of the day of religion versus master of the day of judgment, right?
Mhm.
So I've always kind of taken, after I looked into the root word thing too, it's the lexicon. I can pull it up and tell you which one I've used, but I just, for some reason, I just found, because, it did list religion, this. Words have multiple, couple different, you know what I'm saying? Options there for meanings.
Mhm.
But the judgment to me, I was like, and whenever I use the judgment, meaning that translating it at deen as judgment, in
Yes,
whichever verse, it made a lot more sense versus the religion. You get what I'm saying?
I do. Sure.
So I don't know. I
Well,
was,
here's where we're getting stuck. We're getting stuck in interpretations of words.
Yeah.
We're getting stuck in still, whether we realize it or not, we're getting stuck in schools of thought.
Okay.
See, to believe in a school of thought is to believe in a political idea.
Okay.
When you look up the history of schools of thought and how they began, it's going to trace you back to Catholicism. The Catholics were the first ones to establish schools of thought for the people who believed in their concept of God. There was no such thing in Al Islam as a school of thought. Nobody left us with a school of thought. Even if we judge by the history, Muhammad, Ali, whoever people want to say, established a school of thought. So how we now come up with the four methods, the four major methods, is curious to me. Did Ali actually leave us a different school of thought? See, than one of the other major four, or whoever else we might want to put in that group of people who left us a way or a path or a a yeah. In fact, the word method is not even in the Quran. I don't think
It's
it's
not.
not even in
It's
it.
not.
So we've been arguing for a few thousand years now on what method do you follow, brother?
Yeah.
And I say, what method did the Quran leave me? None, because a method is not a recommended concept or behavior to follow when it comes to the Quran. The Quran came to free you from methods.
That free you from. Yeah.
The Quran came to free you from being a robot.
I'm a
The,
live
the,
testimony of that.
uh,
I say I'm a live testimony of that.
Many of us are now because many are waking
Man,
up.
I went to Jamaats, I went to Tablighs, like I've went all
It's
over the place.
all
Like
fabricated.
it's a whole bunch
Now,
of yeah,
I, I don't like to preach that too hard because I know I hurt a lot of feelings when I say that.
uh,
But
truth hurts.
the average way that we have of thinking about religion is the reason we have these differences that we have, these unnecessary differences. That's the reason we have them, because of the introduction of the concept of religion that came from the Roman Catholics,
Yeah,
not from Muhammad,
yeah, it didn't.
right? So when we hear criticism coming from the rest of the world, the rest of the religious population that say, "Oh, the Muslims got that from the Christians, they got that from the Catholics," they're not altogether wrong.
And they're not absolutely not.
They snuck that
Even like
in though.
the woman's hijab, the covering,
All of that.
that's a
Is what
non.
the why did they call it hijab? When the term hijab is never in the Quran referring to an article of clothing.
Uh,
So how did that become there's a word in there, khimar. How come you don't hear that?
yeah. No,
So when you
I've definitely came to that conclusion that the modern day Islam, the Sunnism, and certain sects and branches, they're just undercover Catholic,
yeah.
Christian Catholics.
And a lot of it is undercover Jew.
Yeah, exactly. That too. Because like little things like Mahdi and Dajjal, and I'm like, the word Dajjal doesn't exist in the Quran. If it's something
No,
so serious, well,
no, but
God
how
does.
did it become so elevated in what we call
It's
our
all
deen?
Christian, yeah,
See,
teachings and
how did it become that elevated? If the word is not even mentioned.
uh,
So this is what I'm saying. That unfortunately, these are people in history who were able to sneak in and leave us with the old okey doke as religion. We believe we're following the proper way. We believe we're following the proper, the way we're supposed to do salat and the zakat and all of these other things. But the Hajj for each one of those categories, I could name you at least 10, 15 things that are not in the Quran that are diametrically opposed to what they told us it is.
absolutely.
So we need a thorough reinvestigation, not a critique, not a criticism, not once we find out there's something different than what we uh, thought it was, that we just turn off the whole television. You know, if there's a program on that you don't like, just switch the channel.
Facts.
but you need the currency running through the television in order to continue learning. So I'm never going to say, oh, I found out that they taught this to me wrong. I don't want anything to do with Islam. No, yes, you do. You want something to do with Islam. You just want it through the proper channels.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is that we're not aware, and when I say we now, I'm talking about the Muslim world, we're not aware of how
That's a population. Yeah.
thoroughly infiltrated ancient Persian ways have been put through the Muslim sift. So that what we come out at in the end is not al-Islam, it's partial Islam, but it's not altogether al-Islam because al-Islam in the way that the Quran is expressing it would free you. It would never make you a slave. And many of the people, the Muslims I see, are really just people, unfortunately, caught up in slavery. Now, people might say, well, how can he say that? I go to Jummah every week. I make my 5 daily salawat. I make this. I do that. I give charity. I give charity. I give this. Okay. There are many animals that do that. There are birds that make tawaf.
Yeah.
You understand? So the achievement, what I'm saying is that the achievement is not in rituals. The achievement is in the substance of the internal behaviors, the internal mentation, how you think on a daily basis. The Quran came to address the internal you, not the external you. Because if you create a book that's intended to make an external me, then it's just a matter of time before I demand that the rest of the world do this like I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with the Arabs when they began to introduce this as something that an Arab prophet or messenger delivered. It can be, see, people don't understand the mind enough to know how to judge that because the mind and the subconscious and the need for reconciliation and peace and goodwill and all of that is something that's calculated within a particular level of the brain. We're going to get a little scientific now. It's calculated within the conscious brain. Your decision to take Shahada was a conscious decision, supposed to be. But we don't realize that we're also making decisions based on subconscious motivations. And the subconscious motivations are going to be motivations that make you most comfortable. They're going to be motivations that have been repeated to you since birth. And the reason you believe it is not because you discovered that it was true based on your own independent investigation. It's something that you believe is true because it was repeated to you since day one of your life on this earth.
Yeah. You've been programmed.
Yeah, you've never had a chance to deny it or to prove it
We're, we're,
wrong.
we're human tabloids, so depends who's
Yes,
programming you.
yeah. So the question is, how do we defeat this program? Because again, the Quran did not come to make you a slave. So if you're behaving in a slavish manner, you have to now backtrack to where that programming came from. Anybody who's working on your computer and he knows your computer has a virus, he has to backtrack. Well, what did you put in this computer? What did you download? What was the last thing you downloaded that made it go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs?
Yeah.
Why is your computer acting? That's what he wants to know. Why is your computer acting like this? So we have to look at ourselves as Muslims in the world and ask ourselves the questions, why are Muslims acting like this? Why are people in, wherever, wherever, I don't want to name any particular people right now, but why are these people acting so out of it? This is not Islam.
Yeah.
Somebody stuck a rotten, degenerative program in the system because deen, the literal meaning for deen is foundation, not religion. Let me explain.
I can go with that. I
Yeah,
understand. I can see
I'm going
that.
to I'm
Yeah.
going to give you some further credence to put behind that statement. We have the word Medina, right?
Yeah.
And as I'm sure you know, it means the place of Deen, the place where Deen is rooted.
Yeah.
because deen is something foundational. Now, in the Hebrew language, they have a prophet there in the Old Testament. His name is Dan.
Sure.
Now, let me just explain this, and this is necessary information. I don't believe that um, idea that you shouldn't, and this is not what you said earlier, but this is a reference to people who think along those lines, who say, I'm not reading anything except the Quran. I'm a Quran only. I'm a this, I'm a that. No, you don't have to be that. Nothing else has to be your primary source of reference. But if you don't study other pieces of information, you up the creek without a paddle.
Yeah.
Even though you might say you're not doing that, you have to do that. There's no way in the world you could only read the Quran and become sophisticatedly intelligent, because there are going to be too many question marks. The Quran is not a book of total information like some Muslims try to get us to believe. It's not that kind
Elaborate,
of miracle.
elaborate on that for a sec, I
Yeah,
guess. What do you mean by that?
yeah. Let me tell you what I mean by that. First of all, the Quran is not everything that Allah knows.
Yeah,
The Quran is everything that Allah needs for us to know.
absolutely.
And you
Yeah.
don't need to know everything about the total cosmos. That would be wasted information. Why am I trying to find out how many universes there are? I'm in this one.
Yeah.
And there's a lot about this one I still haven't figured out. Mostly stuff that I don't know more than the stuff that I do know, right?
Yeah.
If I were to show you your physical body minus your skin, you wouldn't know who you were.
Yeah.
And that's just removing one of the veils that Allah put on us, the skin. Just
Mm-hmm.
take you've seen an animal flared or whatever the case is, where in the halal shop they take all the skin off. You don't know that that was married a cow 2 days ago.
Yeah.
You don't know what cow it was. You can't see spots. You can't see height. You can't see whatever that you use to determine what a cow is. Same thing with a human being. If I started flaying a human being, I don't know what gender, what race. I might see the size and say, "Oh, that's the Hottentots," or "That's the Bantu." Yeah, I don't know. I don't see any real physiognomy. I don't see the features. I don't see what kind of hair. Was it wearing an afro or was it? I
Yeah, no,
don't
I
know.
get that. I'm with you.
Yeah. All right. Now, Allah says in the Quran that He compares the Quran by asking the question that it's actually a statement, that if all of the oceans were ink and all of the trees were pens times seven, right? That we would not be able to exhaust the kalima of Allah.
Yeah, the
We would
Kalam of
not,
Allah. Mhm.
yeah, the kalam, yes, pardon me. So if that is so, and that is so, then he's saying directly to us that this 114 chapter book is not the totality of, first of all, what I know as Allah. Secondly, it's not the totality of what can be known. It's the totality of what you need as what you call it, a table of contents. We'll put it that way. For
Yeah.
what? For creation itself. For all of the exploration that you're going to come into by studying creation. You'll die 1,000 times trying to get all of the information out of this creation. So all I'm saying with that is this, that the kitab is a book that exists for sure, but it exists within you. The reading that is taking place via the Quran is a reading that the internal human has to learn to read. Whenever your instincts are operating, you're reading your internal book. Sometimes your instincts save your life.
Yeah.
You didn't even realize it, and then all of a sudden something spoke to you. It said, don't cross the street yet. And it could be that quick.
Yeah. Split second.
Yeah. And that be the second, the split second, the millisecond that saved your life. What book did he read that in that saved his life? So I'm saying that there's multi levels of that level of learning, that the table of contents is coming through the book called Al Quran, through those 114 chapters, is what I'm saying. Because every single iota of information is not in the Quran. That's not what Allah means when he says that this book covers everything. Yeah,
Covers
everything.
everything in this realm for your guidance. But
Yes, because you may be a
I get what
spiritual
you're saying.
person. You might be a spiritual person, but I'm trying to be a chemist.
Yeah,
So how is that same ayat going to benefit me unless that ayat itself has built into it references to all of these other subjects? And that means in and of itself that it's not an academic book. It's not an academic reading, but it's a reading that has built into it levels of advancement for those who put that kind of stock and that kind of effort into understanding it. See, that it is for those who, here's how Allah puts it, do they not deeply ponder the Quran? يتدبروا القرآن,
citation.
right?
Yeah,
And then Allah tells you the results that would happen if you were that kind of person who deeply, not surfacely, not on the surface. No, this is not a wade in the water with up to your knees at the beach kind of
yeah.
walk.
There's
This
some
is
deep ends.
this is the snorkel.
Yeah,
This is the snorkel actually. This is the, when you put the flippers on and all of that, and you see underworld creatures, some of which human eyes have never seen before. You
yeah,
understand what I'm saying? That's what this reading is. But Allah knows everybody's not going to go that deep. So he gives you enough to sustain yourself for those who want to be on the water, who want to be in the water, have the water touch their toes and cool them off in the summertime. And yeah, that water's in there also, but that's not the extent of it. That's all I'm saying.
yeah.
It's not the extent of the Quran. And because it is multi-layered, whatever layer of information you are looking for, that layer is in the Quran, and the table of contents based on what the Quran is introducing you to is in the Quran. And you got to turn to the table of contents. And then when you open up the greater book, which is the creation itself, start investigating that thing as it exists in Allah's creation, in the ayat, because that's what the ayat is.
Yeah.
It's not a few words in a verse in the Quran. That's not what ayat means. Everything that's in the Quran is in you.
I'm 100% with that. You know
Yeah.
why? There's actually a verse that kind of proves that too, if I'm not mistaken. You know where it says, Lohe Mahfuz? We have written it in your Lohe Mahfuz.
Yes.
So that, yeah, I get it. It's already engraved in us, in our human tech. Because we call ourselves like tabloids. Like when it comes to a baby, they're like, oh, it's a clean board. You can write whatever, mold them
Yeah.
however you want.
That's right. Clean slate. Yeah.
That's when I understood, like, yo, the whole Jewish ideology that tablets was given to Moses. He broke them. So I'm like, well, if he broke them, then you ain't got it, right? They're
Yeah.
broken. They're gone.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but the tablets that Allah is speaking about in this book He gave to Moses, those are not broken. Those are human
No.
tablets.
No. That's why he
Unless,
came to correct that idea. Yeah.
yeah.
Because
So
they had planned on breaking us.
yeah. So I was like, yeah, I get what I'm with you 100%. Like I said, that verse kind of validates what you just said too. That Allah's already pre-written all of this is because if you interestingly, I don't know, would you agree with me or not? You know these ah e oos, right?
Mm,
These
mm.
I forget what they call them in Arabic, but the
Well, they're just,
consonants, the sounds that are on top of
yeah,
letters
the
underneath.
vowels. Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it one of those kings who But those there, IEU at one point,
Well, let's put it this way.
if you like go from a
Yeah,
historical,
I get it. The verses themselves were revealed.
yeah,
The language has, in some measure, been manipulated, but Allah has put a safeguard on the language to the point where even if you attempt to misguide people, Allah has put a safeguard in the Quran to bring you right back to the real meaning. Now, that's a more sophisticated study
yeah,
for people who are really in what do you call it? Invested in studying the Quran. And that's why Allah says, again, in that same sentence, do they not deeply study
yeah.
the Quran? That's the only thing that's going to convince you that this is from Allah. Had it not been from Allah, you would have found in it much discrepancy.
Many
It was
contradictions, yeah.
so the people who are coming with all of these discrepancies, the Christians who say this about it, and the Christian evangelicals, and the people who just want to boohoo and lambaste the Quran, it's only because they haven't reached that level of study. And they won't reach
Facts.
that level of study because their hearts are not right. They're 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 they're, they're qalb. There's a disease. There's in the heart.
Yeah, it's all about the heart.
Yeah. So why would I spend time debating those people? I don't debate anybody.
Facts.
Why? I don't need to debate anybody about what Allah has created in my fitrah. You're just debating what Allah put in your nature. And if He put it in your nature, He intended it for every human being, not just those sitting on the coast of Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, that's a fact.
See, He created it for every human being. So if you find something in the Quran that is not acclimated for the average person, you haven't found the truth. If they want me to believe that the deen began in the Hijaz so many years ago, and the people were Arabs and the language was Arabic, and the people related to those people are the people who are the most favored by God because it came to them first. So because it came to them first, I guess God wanted them to be the purveyors of this new religion to the entire world. So everything else is canceled out as religion. What a slick trick. Everything else is canceled out as religion. That's not how you cancel out a lie, by just telling some more lies to favor
Yeah,
you, to favor you and your tribe. That's not what the Quran is. That's not what Al-Islam is intended to be. Al-Islam is a growing phenomenon in the world, but it's always been here.
absolutely. See, that's
It
I'm
didn't
with
arrive. It did not arrive 1400 years ago or 1500
facts.
years ago. And it is not the province of some king. With 1400 years of, since you mentioned Saudi, of this deen being held within the provinces of Saudi, how come they haven't figured out yet that there are no kings in Islam? It's taken 14 centuries for
This
them
fact.
to,
You know,
am I right or wrong?
yeah,
It's taking 1400 years for you to realize that there shouldn't be any political position as such as king.
yeah. We don't need rules. We just need to implement. God has already created law. Law is already created. We just need to implement and understand and live by it. We don't, you know how they make new laws every day, every year?
Mhm.
We don't need it. It's already, the laws are already there. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You just
But
gotta,
because the law is in you, people missed it.
yeah,
They're looking for the laws out here.
yeah, nah,
They're looking for a new chapter to be born out here for somebody else who they think knows better than they do, for them to tell them what to do next.
yeah.
And that's not what it is.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that about the whole inside thing. Because even if you pay attention to Surah Baqarah right out the gate, Dhalika, that book. It doesn't say this book. And I was like, yo, it's always interesting. People, I don't know
If I were to tell you that that's the exact ayat I was about to speak on,
if,
but that's frequency. That's the beauty about of
yeah,
frequency.
Because it doesn't say had that. Because I was chatting with the buddy. I was like, yo, you see, like Allah is so great. It doesn't cease to amaze me. Like I
Yeah.
love it. I love my Creator. And I genuinely, because one thing I've also understood, people worship or act of worships or whatever, right? There's only three ways you do it: either out of fear, greed, or out of love. Some do it. I don't want to go to Jahannam. I don't want to burn. So let me pray and be good.
Yeah.
Some do it out of greed, like, oh, I'm gonna say Alhamdulillah, and I'm gonna get 10 trees planted, and like.
Yeah. Isn't that, that's a boy.
Then to me, I'm
Oh,
just like,
that's,
yo, when you're turning and tossing in your sleep, Allah's doing it. Like, does it hurt to show some love back? Like, just love Him out of worship Him, serve Him out of love.
mhm.
Um.
But
So
see, the motivating factor for humans is not fear.
yeah,
See, if you want to know what this deen truly is, it's easy. Just go back and study the behavior of the infant, because the infants are basically born into paradise on the most part.
yeah,
And when you finally remove whatever's troubling them, hunger, feeling unsafe because of, Uncle Pookie shouting in the house, drunk, the baby's going to wonder, what's going on here? He's looking for some help.
yeah,
But once his needs become satisfied, he or she, they're in heaven.
yeah, chilling.
Now, in heaven, listen to this point. In heaven, no one is afraid of hell.
Yeah,
There's no need to make the 2-year-old afraid of hell.
absolutely not.
See, that baby is smarter than we are. Fear of that caliber cancels out love. You cannot fear Allah and love Allah at the same time.
It
Try doing that with your wife and see what happens.
doesn't work. Yeah,
No. So why would it be a different story now that I'm 20 or 30 or 60? It's not a different story. It's the same nature. That's why the Quran came to address the human nature.
yeah,
And it does it through prototypes, as I mentioned earlier. Prototypes. So that woman who's mentioned, Mariam or whoever it is, it's not talking about a physical woman from 2,000 years ago. It's a prototype that's pointing to behaviors that are in the psychology, in the psyche, in the nepes of the human. That's why Allah puts these prototypes all throughout the Quran, but we're thinking they're physical examples. The mother of Moses, the or whoever, we're thinking, oh, these are physical people in history. The Quran has nothing to do with history. It has everything to do with the pre-programmed nature that he created all human beings with. That cancels out race, because
yeah,
when you strip the human being of a race, when you strip him of geography where he's born, he's going to be the same
yeah,
in his fitrah. That's why the Quran is addressing the human being as a fitrah phenomenon. So when you come to me with some racial motivation, I'm not going to listen to you.
yeah.
I'd
Yeah,
be
you're right.
wasting my
Because
time.
God is even helping you judge, like when He tells you the nature of a hypocrite.
Yes,
It's not telling you a race. It's just telling you
exactly.
if
The
you see
behavior,
his
right?
nature in a yellow, white, pink, whatever, just know he's a hypocrite.
That's right.
Or if you see this, yeah, doesn't really.
Yeah.
You're right on that.
And Allah stripped it down to the basic nature that is common to all types of that type.
Yeah,
There are certain things that all birds do, but there are specific things that certain birds do.
yeah,
The chicken doesn't do what a duck does. You know what I'm saying, right?
facts.
But there is a prototype bird that does what all other birds do. There's a prototype human that does what all other humans do. When you're looking at that human, and this is the only way in which I accept the phrase judgment, because judgment is an intellectual thing. You need an intellect in order to judge. That
Facts.
means you have to have reached a certain level of human development in order to even qualify as a judge.
Yep.
When we say day of judgment, we're just talking about the day of decision making. But the
Yeah. So
decision
in
can't
in
be
my
prejudiced.
language, fast. It's like fasla in Pakistani. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That was the word I was looking for. Decision
Yeah,
more than
I get
because
it.
that's why I kind of relied on judgment because
No, but you're absolutely right in the way you're expressing it now
yeah,
through that word.
yeah.
You know,
There's the day of decision of God. There's a day of decision for you, and yeah, makes
and
sense.
the fact is that we're going through judgment all of the time, not at a particular time. The Quran is not dealing with times. It's not dealing with dimensions. It says that Allah is Rabbil Alameen. He's the Lord of all dimensions.
Mhm.
And his, going back to the word perception for us, is that we also soak in, take in, regulate our world, our human world, based on a multiplicity of frequencies that are available to us. That's why some people are more psychic than others. Some people are more emotional than others. Some people are more intellectual than others. So Allah is not the Lord of one or two of those emotions or one or two of those thoughts. He's the Rabb of all of it.
Everything, yeah, all
You
that
see?
encompasses.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's
we're
like
not
when
saying,
we said what world you're living in. Even in
yeah,
that world, He's the Lord.
yeah, that's
So
right. And when
every
in your childhood world, your mother and your daddy were your Rabb.
yeah,
And
facts.
that's told to you very clearly in the Quran. That's what they call
Mhm.
taking lords and patrons as your God. That's what immature people do. Because Rabb just means the one who assisted you in growing up. That's all. And this evolutionary process that we all go through, Allah is the Rabb over that.
That makes sense. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, listen, I try to reduce it from kooky to spooky, from kooky to spooky to real. Some people believe in things that are just kooky. Other
Yeah,
people believe in things that make a little bit of sense, but then they just make it spooky. But
facts.
Allah's revelation is clear. Al-Bayan.
The clear proofs. Yeah,
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Now, the way that I square that up is by giving an explanation for what these letters mean. And I just happened to come upon this by doing some other investigation into language. Um, and I found that people from different parts of the world who speak different languages, those differences in the language are so different that if I weren't born speaking it or if I wasn't taught that language as an academic course or in grade school even, then I won't understand what you're saying. You're right here next to me. You look like me, but I don't understand a word you're saying. First of all, your local language is not universal.
yeah.
Your local language is not what do you call it? I'm forgetting the word. But your local language is not what governs your real existence. What we're calling Arabic, we have a mixed up, made up in some cases, idea of what Arabic is. We think it's a colloquial language that we learned in some country that speaks Arabic, and that's not true. That wouldn't be fair for God to do that.
Yeah, He's not just. And He
There
says
you
He's
go.
unjust. Be
There
just.
you go.
Yeah.
How could he be, El Adel and
You know,
all of these
even in
other
some parts
beautiful
of the
things?
Arab world, they say they have you know how we have English translation
Yes,
for the Arabic text there. In
yes,
some parts of the Arab world, it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but they say there's Arabic translations of the Arabic Quran. Like they can't even fully grasp the
that's right.
Quran in Arabic. So
Because it's not colloquial Arabic.
it's a human Arabic, and then there's divine God's Arabic. I
Yeah,
guess two different.
and much of
It
that
might have
depends.
similarities, but it's different.
Yeah. Well, see, when you go back to even what the hadiths say concerning the first revelation, which they say is the one that begins with Iqra, you would think it would begin with Al-Fatiha, right? But the one that begins Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, that one. when you go back and look at that and you listen to the stories around Hira, the cave, they say that he didn't come down from Mount Hira with a book. And then some say there was a break in the cessation of revelation for about 3 years or so.
Mhm.
You heard that?
I mean, yeah, I've heard of them, but
No, no, more, no. I'm saying this to make a point. The
yeah, yeah,
point
no,
is,
I've definitely heard. Yeah, I've heard of different narrations. Like you say, yeah, some say he didn't come down for 3 days. Some say, or but
no, no, no,
I wouldn't
no,
be
no,
able to be
not
like,
come
oh
down,
yeah,
not come
yeah,
down. No, no, maybe I misstated that. It's not
yeah,
that he didn't come down from the mountain. He didn't come down with a book.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they would be
there's a
like,
difference.
see, even with that one, I had like I said, I'm always asking the why, the questions, right?
Mhm.
So I'm like, last time I checked, Iqra is to read. You can't read something that's not really written.
This is true,
Okay.
but you can read frequencies.
Exactly, right? But even to read that, it's in a way written, I guess. I mean, I don't know how frequencies are, but the point I was trying to make
Frequencies,
was with
yeah,
that was yeah, this is not something that was revealed because they have that story that they're talking about read, and then he couldn't. He's like, I don't know how to read. I'm illiterate. So
yeah,
I'm like, what kind of unjust God is that for squeezing you nearly out of
yeah,
life
to death.
to death? Like, I don't know how to read. What do you want me to read?
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
You know, I
So
was like, he found a real quick way to learn, though, didn't he?
yeah, so I was like,
Because those amount to fairy tales when you don't understand them.
yeah,
They amount to great wisdom when you do understand them. But
facts.
that's not because the source creator fed you that information through the hadith. That's what they want you to think. That's why they say you can't learn the Quran without the assistance of the hadith. Now,
Yeah.
people can argue that night and day. I say, well, there was about 300 or so years before the hadiths even started appearing because they didn't come
Hmm.
out of Arabia. They came out of ancient
Even at the
Persia.
time of the four Khalifas, they said,
Hmm.
um, Omar bin Khattab, the Omar, the third or second, I think he was the second. Yeah.
Yes,
Um, I think even in their own hadith book, there's a hadith that said Omar said to Abu Huraira, and I don't know how true this is. Like I said, I don't have a single hadith book even in my house. It's
yeah,
just he said, she said, heard, I heard things like that. But if I'm not mistaken, point is that even Omar said, "Yo, don't do this. Don't write these hadiths, or I will exile you." So it
that's right.
wasn't until like two, 300
No, it was
years,
very well known that these
like
hadiths were
three
taboo.
centuries later.
They
So
were taboo. They knew it.
yeah,
They said this is against what the, and in fact, there's a hadith that says that the Prophet himself forbade it.
yeah. So I'm just like,
But you know what's funny? He forbade it, but they get that to us in a hadith.
that's why I'm like, yo, people don't want like. I mean, forget
Yeah,
people. I was like, yo, even myself. At one point, I wasn't just. I can't be. I can't thank God enough because I was in that ignorant state of mind at one point where I would have just believed that, like, wow. But you don't focus, like, he's telling you not to do hadith, but a hadith is telling you he's not.
you're
But
right.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So what I've chosen to do concerning that is because that's where the majority of people that I need to talk to, that's where their heads are. I need to know at least something about it.
yeah.
And the more I find out about it, how it got established, how it got accepted by that many people in that small amount of time, less than 100 years after the first hadith appeared, the first thing I decided to do was stop calling them hadith because
Yeah.
the term hadith is a Quranic term.
It's a
It's
chronic
in the
word,
Quran.
too. Yeah.
Yes. So how can I come behind the Quran and then say something different than what Allah said?
Facts.
Allah said the hadith is this in the Quran. And Allah even asked the question, said is
Like the one we started with, Halataka Hadithul Musa.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
As his hadith
And
come
in
to
what
you.
hadith will you believe in after this?
Yeah.
So Allah is letting you know there's going to be other hadith, but is it worth following over this hadith, which is from me? It's not
Yeah,
from
you
Abu
said
Hurairah.
Ahsanul Hadith. This is the best.
There you go.
Ahsanul Hadith. Yeah.
There you go. Right. So, and to me, again, that doesn't sound like a a hard stop on hadith.
Yeah.
I'm just using my own inner judgment. It
No,
doesn't
that's
sound
fine.
like a lot. Yeah, it doesn't say what it says about gambling and and alcohol. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't say what it says about people who are going to experience the fire if they do this.
Mhm.
Because I don't think it's that serious. All you really have to do is understand what those letters mean. This is the foolproof way of understanding Quranic words. It's not going to give you the entire scope of what the Quran is saying, but it's going to give you the, I like using the word prototype. It's going to give you the template. That's a better word for what that word is suggesting because it's giving you the attributes of the word. It's not giving you the politics of the word. It's not giving you the world history of the word. It's giving you the attributes of what those words mean. So if I know that Aleph means one thing and Lam means something else and Meme means something else, you see?
Yeah,
Yeah. If I can read that as attributes that Allah is leaving us,
yeah,
I don't have to argue about what it literally means because I'm deducing the meaning from the investigation of those letters. And what happens in the end, my friend, is that you have so many connections to logic once you understand what the attributes are that you're going to find it doesn't mean any one thing only. It means many things, but those many things are all related.
yeah.
See, just like the letter Aleph, as a for instance, as a part of your body, it represents your spine. Every standing person has an active spine. You need it to help you stand up. You need it to help you walk forward. You need it for many other things that the
Yeah.
body calls for. And again, this is a fitra-based property, the spine. Therefore, it has nothing to do with you being Arab or me being African or
Yeah,
him being,
facts.
it has nothing to do with that, right? So
Hmm.
if I know that it means spine, now my true human mind kicks in, which analyzes on the level of, put it this way, it analyzes on a level that's above literal. If I say to you,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, I'm just trying to find a simple example. Um,
It's like
I got my eye on you. Be careful. I have my eye on you.
yeah,
Now, what if some fool actually came up to you and put his eye, put his eye on your shoulder?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That'd be weird, wouldn't it?
Hmm.
But everybody knows that it's not talking about your physical eye
Literally,
being
yeah,
on
it's a
somebody.
figurative
If
speech,
you go
yeah.
to your friend and you say, "Don't worry, Chief, I got your back. I don't worry, I got your back." Does it mean this guy's going to be
You're
behind you
not
for the rest of the day?
physically, yeah.
So many things are allegorical. Many things are non-literal because the human being has been blessed by Allah with that ability to register those levels of ilm,
Hmm.
those systems of knowledge, the alamin, el alamin, those levels, the multiple frequencies. Look at these shows that train dogs.
Yeah.
How are they training those dogs? Through frequencies. They have to know the dog's frequency. If they see the dog's pupils suddenly get widened, you better go ahead and get that dog because somebody's going to get bit.
Hmm. Hmm.
If you see their heads just real quick, look toward an object, a rabbit or something, it's only going to be a couple of seconds before he goes pouncing and biting at that rabbit. When you know what the dog's frequencies are, now that's true for most dogs, well, for every dog actually. If you know, but what differs is the intensity based on the kind of dog. If it's a Doberman or a Rottweiler, you know they're going to be quicker to bite and kill because those dogs are bred for that.
Yeah.
So if you know that, then you have a good overview of what that dog is, what he's going to do, what he won't do, and that kind of thing. Human beings have the same structure. We just have it on a actually a much more sophisticated level only because we can think. The dog is purely instinctive. He's not thinking.
Yeah,
A human being is one who can stop at a moment's notice and say, if I do that, I won't be able to do this other thing because he's calculating,
yeah.
right? So the human
I'm with
being
you
is
on
on
that.
top of the world. Human being is on top of the world because he can think. That's why Allah holds us more responsible than he's going to hold the dog. You don't see
Mm-hmm.
dogs getting punishment and, you
Yeah, there's
know,
no mention of that. Yeah,
so it has to be because of what Allah has differentiated us by, and that is the ability to think, reason, calculate. Allah talks about the nasiya, a lying, sinful forelock. Where's the
yeah,
forelock?
right
This
there.
conscious brain.
Yeah,
He didn't say that the horse has one. He says you have one. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So you
yeah,
can lie and deceive up here in this conscious brain.
yeah. If
This is the
he
only. This is
lies,
the only
we'll grab
place.
them by their forelocks and punish them. Yeah,
A
Abs-
lying sinful. He's letting you know you have something different than Mr. Ed, the horse,
yeah.
or Lassie, the collie. You have something different.
I'm with you.
Yeah. It's beautiful when you understand. So the control then has to be directed towards the thinking brain because that's where you get in trouble. That's where you get in trouble. The dog will let you know every time he's about to pounce on you.
Yeah,
You about to get it. Don't stand right in front of him because he's going for it when he gets riled up. The horse, the same thing. The wild horse, if you don't know how to tame him or her, you're in for the time of your life because that's a wild horse and you knew it. That's a stallion. You knew that.
absolutely.
You see? And then the little poodle, you know their nature, you know that breed, you know a certain behavior comes out of that breed, then you know how to treat them.
Yeah, it's not the same as like one of those hunting dogs, you know,
No,
that
buddy,
are
no, it's not like a,
instinctive, created
oh
for that
man.
purpose.
Yeah, but if you take that hunting dog and you put him, you say he's cute as a puppy, I'm gonna bring him home, and you keep him within a house, it's just a matter of time before he tears your house up because he's not bred to be in the house.
Yeah, he's not meant to be domesticated.
His nature
They
can't
like to
take it.
domesticate things, you know.
They won't even go out and exercise the dog. They don't know that that dog needs 3 times more exercise than the average dog
Yeah,
because he's
facts.
a hunter.
Yeah,
He's nipping at things. He's going to nip at your child because that's his nature. He's a hunting dog.
absolutely.
That's why you don't see in the Quran dogs that are belonging to people in houses. When Allah
Facts.
speaks about a dog, he's either in a cave, right? Or he's in
On
the
a
field.
thing to guard
He's bringing in a duck,
natural fitra, to
Yes,
guard
sir.
you, protect you. Yeah,
That's right.
I'm with you on that. That's a very big that's a main thing that people kind of don't pay that much attention to the whole fitra, the nature of things. You know,
Yeah.
if you really think about it, man, all around the world, even in America, everywhere we're having issues because of this not understanding and recognizing your fitra. We're
Yes.
quick to study the nature of dog and the nature of this. And well, what about your own nature? Pay attention to that. It'll make a lot of sense. You know,
That's right.
uh,
That's right.
I'm with you on that 100%.
Yeah. Fitra literally refers to that which you open up
Yeah.
because the human nature is something that needs to be opened. It
I
needs to be
love,
explored. It's
yeah.
because there's a pattern. Nature provides a pattern. And there's nothing in creation that can be recognized unless it is recognized through a pattern,
Hmm.
which we call a pattern of behavior. You
Yeah, it
see?
reminds me of that verse where Allah says that nothing is created out of just randomness.
That's right.
You know, there's
Nothing. Nothing.
yeah,
Nothing is
absolutely nothing.
happenstance.
Nothing is created out of randomness.
No, it might look
Everything has
like it is, but
purpose.
everything is perfectly calculated.
Facts.
Isn't that great?
That's why I'm like, man, I love this book.
A book loves you.
Yeah, like my
That's
it's
why
like
that's why I came to
oh, I
keep you
love it
company.
because it's like you know how certain things like even with the whole Musa thing, right?
Hmm.
Certain things you even though you can't say that it's a time period thing, but if that's how you want to take it, you can. Yeah, I mean, at one point in history, Musa lived, so it's like you know how they say in music double entendre or something
Double
like double.
entendre, yes, sure.
I'm like, yo, you can kind of see that here too. Like certain things you can say, like, yeah, okay, sure, it existed then, but it's still here in today's day and time too. It's not limited to only it was just a thing in the history.
Yeah,
Because
it's here.
another thing for me is the thing that does it for me is if you recall those verses where Allah's saying He's repeating the creation, so it's like nothing new is happening.
That's
You
right.
have I'm not sure about your personal life or, but I'm sure, and when I say you, not personally you, but just in general, yeah.
Sure, sure.
As a human beings, you get married, you or even outside of marriage, you procreate. You have
Hmm.
your kids, you die off, then they live to a certain time,
Yeah,
then they do the
there
same
they
thing.
go. Some of them look just like you.
Animal world, same thing. They're eating,
Hmm.
surviving, reproducing.
Yeah,
So, and all this cycle, right? There's a cycle that's happening. In this, what I've noticed is there's certain things that are not part of this cycle. For example, Allah. There's no
right,
recreation of Allah or anything like that. The Kitab, it's
right.
one constant thing. And then, if I'm not mistaken, don't it say the Kitab is your Imam for mankind, for Nas?
Yes,
So it's like either Nas started 1400 years ago or
exactly,
this book was there way
exactly,
before 1400 years ago. That you gotta
exactly.
like, you gotta pick and choose. That 1400, before 1400, there was no
It
Nas.
can't be both.
Yeah, so it's like, that's where I'm like, yo, everything is there, even though they try to cover up a lot of the words and meanings and things,
Mhm.
but Allah's just guarded the book. Like, there's no way you can. It's gonna be questions like this, like, yo, okay, so
Yeah,
now it
you can't
started
bamboozle the
1400 years
book.
ago.
You
You
can't
know,
bamboozle the kitab.
you can't. Yeah,
And again, the keys to understanding the kitab are in the letters
yeah,
because the letters are sounds and sounds are frequency. And the entire universe is governed based on frequencies. That's even why they call the human being a person. The word person means by way of sound. That's how you exist.
but
P-E-R, per, by
yeah.
way of S-O-N from sonary, sound.
Mhm.
So these scientists and these people who investigated knowledge back in the day, they know this. But we've been dumbed down by depriving us of true meanings for words. That's how the world is ruled. It's ruled through language, not through guns and bombs.
Yeah,
Guns and bombs come later, after they learn to configure or disfigure the language. So then you hear the same word, Muslim, and you smile. These are Muslims. Oh, this is where the Muslims are. But you don't realize that they finagle that word so bad
yeah. It's like
that you think it means a Shahadatain person.
yeah, it's like they made it into like identity
Exactly.
versus all it means is to submit.
Yeah. And
And then
identity.
the real question kind
And
of comes is at that point, submit to what? Some
yeah.
submit to money, some submit to their children,
And
some
and then the question of how, what
yeah,
submit, what does that mean? And then another question for a more sophisticated thinker is why do it that way? Is this the only way?
yeah,
You see? And they reduce all of that down to a ritual. That's the real crime. All of that is reduced down to a series of bodily movements. That's the crime.
yeah.
I'm doing my grocery list while I'm making, while you think
Oh
I'm
yeah,
I'm making,
absolutely, bro. You are
you think I'm praying, and
telling
I'm
me
over here
you
trying to figure out,
done made a
did I
deal.
did I tell my wife I was going to pick my kid up from school today? You're doing that while you're in the middle of the set.
Bro, you know one of the funniest thing I heard in related to what you just said, right? Making a whole grocery list. There was somebody who said during the Sahaba time or something or whatever. But let's forget those, right? Let me come to the straight point.
Yeah.
They said that if you forget something, like you forgot something, so just go make two rakat nafals. The shaitan's gonna come and remind you because he doesn't want you focused on
Mhm.
on, on the prayer.
Yeah. And let
I'm
me tell you
like,
something. Somebody might come to you.
as
Somebody
a
might come to you. Somebody
yeah,
might come to you and say, brother, that's true. I did it. And it came back. Because you don't understand how powerful the mind is. There are Catholics who tell you the same thing about their rosary beads.
I'm like, yo, that's crazy. Y'all just,
You understand? There are black magic people who would tell you the same thing.
yeah,
Say this, say this, and sprinkle some juju dust, and it'll happen
it's
because they
crazy.
don't understand the power of attraction. They don't understand what attracts and repels energies. So you're not doing anything new in the universe. You're doing what works. You just gave it a different name. Now, I'm not saying that traditional salat is juju, but what I'm saying is that it's the same principle.
Damn near it is. I mean,
Yeah, it's the same
I'll say it
principle.
is.
See?
I'll say it is.
Well, I'm not going to go that far
But you're more than say it.
because sincerity and intention are built in.
Absolutely.
And there are people who do things that they don't have good intentions behind. And I'm not going to say that's true for the average person who's making the ritual salat. I don't think that's true. But I
Yeah.
will say that some of it can be relegated to a sideline performance, a sideline performance. That I will say. And I say that because there's a difference between a ritual and a routine. There are things that we do as routines. Like for instance, you get up, you brush your teeth, you wash your face, and you shower, or whatever you're gonna do. Put on some clean clothes other than the ones you
Mhm.
had on yesterday. Those are routines.
Yeah.
That's what salat is. It's a series of routines, and nobody can calculate what the exact routines are. Now I know I get a lot of flack for this right here, what I'm about to tell you,
Tell
but
me.
no, nobody can tell you exactly. That's why they don't have it codified anywhere. One school of thought says Salat does this. Another school says Salat does that. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. I hear
So what's the and there's no one book of well, I mean, you go to this hadith, you go to the Shia, they say one way you're supposed to make the Salat.
you. Yeah, everybody got their own.
Yeah. So where and it's not in the Quran. Is it in the Quran for me to make a qiyam with my hands up here? It's not in the Quran.
Yeah.
Is it in the Quran for me to end with a taslim? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. No, because there's no assalam in the Quran. Can you still hear me?
Hmm.
Okay. So
Now, one hundred
how
percent. Just for a second, I have the video off, but I'll come right back on. But I
yeah.
hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
I'm with
So
you
so
on that. I'm 100% with you on that.
so why should I fight another group that says they're Muslims and they don't do what I do as a Muslim? Why am I fighting them on the battlefield when what they're fighting over is not even in the Quran?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's amazing. See? So that's where I stand on it. My first reference point is Al Quran. And then you have to go deep into the woods, deep into the minutia of what the Quran is saying. And I say the minutia is represented in the sounds, the words, the letters.
Yeah, even like the word Quran itself, right? It's
Mhm.
not a title of a book. The meaning,
No,
the translation of that word means recitation, study.
yes,
So
which
that's literally
uh,
what we're doing. We're doing the study of the right. Kitab is writing or book. You know what I'm saying? So
mhm.
it's the study of the Arabic writing that you're seeing right there. While the
And it was
actual,
intended to be pronounced. It was intended to be pronounced. So that means it is sonic, it is sonar, it
yeah,
is based on frequencies. And Allah tells you in the Quran how to recite it. Not too
absolutely.
loud, right?
Not too loud, not too, yeah,
Not
medium
yeah,
pitch.
it's telling you right there. So if you're just home looking at it and just kind of reading to yourself, and all right, it's okay, but that's not the standard way that you're supposed to read the Quran because the Quran represents frequencies.
Absolutely.
They have to register in your nervous system. That's what frequencies do. They register in your nervous system, which means what? That the first thing that a frequency comes in contact with is your spine.
I'm with you. See about that, right? I
Hmm.
know it might be kind of going off the topic of the nod and the ra'ah and everything. We'll circle back to it. But
Hmm.
the alif, right?
Yes.
I'm with I was pondering upon that. Let's say that, right? When I had kind of came across that video with the whole spinal cord. Like I get it. I
Hmm.
100% get it. That in a sense, yes, it represents the spine and everything, right?
Hmm.
But then I also was looking at it from the because the spine is connected, right? To the skull, to the spinal cord. So it's like connected to the brain, right?
Hmm.
So it's not like by itself standing. So I was like I said, I understand where you're coming from in the sense of what part of the body may represent Aleph and whatnot. But I also had and this is not something that somebody taught me per se or anything. It's just, kind of pondering upon the Quran and everything. I was leaning more towards like, and I'm not trying to say anything like you're wrong or anything, but I was like, yo, if you kind
It's
of
all
go
subjective.
outside, if you go,
It's all
yeah, if you go
fine.
outside of the realm of just the body and whatnot, right?
Hmm.
I'm like, Aleph can represent Allah alone, standing alone. Qul huwa Allahu ahad, wahid, one. Allah is there. Or I don't know how to explain it in words or
Yeah. Well, the first question that I
uh,
would ask, because that's what the traditional Muslims say,
yeah,
that Aleph stands for Allah alone. I get it. But I would ask the person who believes like that, where do I take that from here? I mean, I know that that's from the beginning of the book that Allah tells you he's alone.
yeah.
Why does he put that in a whole separate statement? Kul hu Allahu ahad. And then doesn't leave it there. Allahu samad. What am I supposed to learn from this? And then if I do believe that Aleph can also mean the spine, not the spine, but the oneness of Allah, the aloneness of Allah,
Mhm.
then how do I connect that to the lam and the meme? You understand what I'm saying? I'm not just trying to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
establish a logic that only works for me or that,
It got to work as a
yeah,
whole because it's a
it's
universal
got to
thing.
work in the fitrah.
Yeah.
In the fitrah means you got to study every spine you get a chance to study. The animal spine, the human spine, everything that holds a bug together.
Hmm.
This is why if all the oceans were ink and all of the trees were pens and you times them by seven, never will you exhaust.
That's a fact.
Right? You never exhaust it because Allah says he's always involved in new creation. There are things that haven't even been introduced to earth yet as created things. So you can Allah says that he's holding up the universe with pillars that you cannot see.
Hmm.
What is the spine? It's a pillar.
Yeah, in a sense, yeah,
It's holding up the universe. That's what the spine is doing for your body.
absolutely.
So that's a comparative analysis of some things that Allah is speaking of in the
Yeah,
Quran.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Mind and heart being together. Yeah,
And look at how much more science you get from studying on that level.
yeah, absolutely.
You're just starting with the part of the body. The human body is not the all in all in the universe,
Yeah.
but it's what Allah used in order to bring you the bigger message. So again, these letters, they begin as a premise regarding each one of those letters representing a different part of your physical body. So Aleph is your spine, connected to the spinal cord. But if you go deeper into the woods on that, you'll know that the top of the spine is connected to your lower brain.
Hmm.
So that now it leads me to the study of what does my lower brain do? You see what I'm saying? It leads me to the analysis of what the spinal cord does. It's not just the spine, the bony part. It's the spinal cord also.
Yeah.
And it's the spinal cord that is registering these frequencies. And that's just the first letter. And I'm just speaking halfway off the top of my head. Imagine if we were to sit down and do a deep dive on Aleph. And then you have to ask yourself, well, it's connected to what? It's connected to the medulla oblongata. What is
Mhm.
that doing? Now you're going deep into the rabbit hole on just one letter. Now, if you want to say Allah is Aleph, you're more justified because now I have to connect all of those things to what I just said. All of those attributes. That's what they are. They're attributes.
Facts.
And then if I leave there and say, well, it's not just Aleph, it says Aleph Lam Mim.
Hmm.
So what is this Lam? And see, people get it wrong. They say Aleph Lam Mim. Aleph Lam Mim. No, you got to pronounce it the way it got to you. The Lam and the Mim are elongated.
Hmm.
It's not a regular pronunciation. Aleph, that's by itself. Lam Mim. It has a meaning.
Yeah.
So again, if I'm the Imam and I say Alif Lam Mim, I'm wrong. That's incorrect. It's no big deal because most people don't know it's incorrect.
Changes the
But
frequencies.
there you go.
When you,
Exactly.
yeah, with certain words, the way you pronounce them correctly, you can kind of, even with the lam, meme, you can feel that vibration in your
Feel
chest.
it.
So,
You feel
yeah,
it.
like on a surface level, I was just looking at it like Alif Lam Mim, Alif being Allah, Lam being a represent, not the, that's what these words mean, but representation, right? Alif representing Allah, Lam representing the Rasul, and then Mim representing you. You connect with the Rasul too. But that was like just a little surface level. Like I said,
The only, the only
I understood
difference,
what you were saying, but I
yeah,
was like, yo, this is something.
the only difference I would have with that is that you're pointing to figures in history.
No, no. Again, when I say Rasul, right? So here's the interesting thing I understood about the whole Rasul thing. You recall the story of Yusuf,
Yes, absolutely.
whether he was a real person or whether it's a protocol, whatever, right? Um, in that particular story, let's narrow it down to when he was in the prison, right? Fast
Mhm.
forward to when he's in the prison. There's two other inmates he has. He tells them about the dream. One, the bird's eating, you're gonna die. He interprets that. The other one, he says he's gonna be the king's, I don't know, server or something along those lines, right? He's gonna be serving wine for the king or something like that,
Mhm.
bartender, whatever. But excuse my but when the king had the dream about the skinny cows, fat cows, he asked his peoples around him. They couldn't help him interpret the dream. At that point, he remembered, hey, if you send me back to the prison, there's somebody I know that can interpret your dream, whatnot. So if you
Basically,
look at
yeah.
the Arabic over there, right? Allah
Mhm.
says that the king sent his Rasul,
Mhm.
right? So to
Yeah.
me, one thing that I learned was, you know how in the traditional
And
religion, Islam and
not just that,
whatnot, they kind of make it into,
the king itself
yeah,
is an attribute of Allah,
for sure,
but
right?
it's being used here in the Quran
Yeah,
in an ordinary way. And
yeah,
politicians,
exactly. So
yeah,
just like kind of looking at it from surface level, right? I'm like, hey, look, Allah's teaching me here, contrary to the traditional Islam or whatever, however you want to look at it. You know how they kind of put Rasuls and messengers in this high pedestal and how
yeah,
whatever. To me,
sure,
I was like, yo, Allah's using this word from from a humanly perspective, a king, a human
yes, sir.
king. So I'm like, okay, what I understood was just like that king has his messenger that went to him, right? Allah himself has a messenger, right? And that one messenger of Allah, the explicit, exclusive messenger of Allah, is Muhammad Rasulullah, not the human from Arabia. Muhammad Rasulullah is Allah's messenger. Then there's human messengers and prophets that are kind of illustrated in the book, that this Moses was for his time and so forth and so on. They're all human messengers and whatnot. You can't really basically what I'm trying to say is even for Musa, Ibrahim, and so forth, right? Allah's messenger has to come. If Allah doesn't send Muhammad to them, there's nothing. Does that make sense? Or
It does,
kind of,
but it's still outside of the framework
because the
of
reason I say that is if you recall that one verse, right, in the Quran where Allah says that addressing all the prophets and whatnot, and he says, A Rasul will come to you and will confirm what I have given you of the book.
Mhm.
So I'm like, unless we go into this fairy tale world of a supernatural human, which I just don't see if there's these different time periods, right? Like according to some interpretations, Moses came after or before Jesus, and Abraham was like thousand some years before then, or some so forth and so on. So I was like,
Mhm.
what kind of a human being has the capability to go to Moses, go to Noah, go to all of these different individuals and confirm what God has given them of the book,
Yeah,
right?
and all in different time zones. Yeah,
All in different times. So I was like,
different
that
parts of
that can't be
history.
a
Yeah,
human. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
There's
yeah.
just no way. So I was like, that whole thing about Muhammad ibn Abdullah from Medina 1400 years ago and
Mhm.
Muhammad Rasulullah, some way, somehow in history, people, whatever, they have kind of combined it to make him into this one that he is. But that's not what the book is saying. That's not what Allah is saying.
I agree.
Even in the Christian world, you know how they say the Holy Spirit, right? So the way I understand it is, yeah, this Holy Spirit is Muhammad. Ruhul Amin is Muhammad. And even in the Quran, when Allah says, when I breathe into him my ruh.
Mhm.
So I'm like, that ruh that's being blown into us. Because if I ask you, if you read this Quran in Arabic, right? Anything, Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, could you ever take ownerships of those words?
Absolutely not.
And isn't it true while you are reciting the Quran in Arabic, the voice was inside of you is might be having a whole conversation or making a grocery list and all that
Yeah,
stuff, right?
yeah.
So, and then when I came across that 6940, Surah Al Haqqa, the inevitable reality, um, Inna li qawli Rasulin Kareem. I was like, hold on a second. I'm not a noble messenger. These are not my words, but according to what I just read, if I understood this correctly, all this that I'm reading in Arabic, or at least I'm hearing, this is not me per se reading this. This is the messenger. And there was something I had tumbled across. Some scientists, they found like this messenger gene or something in your brain that's just sitting there, not really connecting
It's a
or
part of your
something.
DNA. Your DNA and your RNA genes.
Yeah, so and yeah, there's like that whole messenger.
They call it the messenger gene.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, what are the odds of, So, like I said, I'm not
No, you're right on.
not
You're
to the
right on
point where I
point.
can come and be like, oh, here's
Your speculations are right on point. That's why I'm sitting here
so
listening
I'm like, all this
diligently.
connects though. All this, like the
Absolutely.
Kitab
Listen,
Muhammad connects, makes sense. But when I try to attribute these things with the 1400-year-old ago Muhammad, my grandfather, it doesn't work out. I'm like,
exactly. And that's
that's where
why
you kind of get these little splits where Sufis are like, yo, he's a human and nude, he's man and light, and
they're big, big splits
yeah, so I'm like, yo,
ideologically.
I can see where these splits and things are happening from,
You
but
can see it if you're believing that these are individual humans and not human prototypes. Let me explain.
yeah, let's
When
dive
Allah
into
says,
that because
when,
I kind
when
of see it as both. It can be a human at one point.
there's no need for it to be because
Yeah,
you're created min nafsin wahida.
yeah, one
All you
psychology.
need, all you need is one.
Yeah,
I think you mentioned something like that in the beginning of this. If you created min nafsin wahida, right? Then zawjaha, and then from there you get three more means. Right now, you and I are about 80 trillion cells sitting in this chair.
absolutely.
80 trillion. But each one of those cells is exactly the same. The only difference is what their fitra allows them to express in order to become your eyebrow or your nose hair or your tongue or your tonsils. Every single one of the cells in this body, 80 trillion now in your adult life, they're all from one prototype. Prototype. You understand what I mean now?
Yeah,
It can create, it can, no matter who you are, it's always the same for the cell.
yeah,
And no matter who you are, it's always the same for the soul. That's where they got the word soul. And that's where they got the word cell. These people are doing a comparative analysis of the fitrah. They read that in the Quran. They just didn't tell us about it.
yeah. No,
So if
I do
that's
agree. I do agree on that. Like they have an intense knowledge
yeah,
and they
so
hide a
since
lot of
that's
it.
true, since that is true, then why would I not believe that these various prophets and rasuls are not doing what the body does? Because you have muscle groups, you have uh, skeletal structure, you got different, about 10, 12 different systems working in you. You see what I'm saying? You're
Hmm.
not just the muscular system, you're not just the
It's
nervous system,
vascular, skeletal. Yeah,
yeah,
I get you.
but
I'm
it's
with you.
all you.
Yeah.
And any one of them could have replicated the same nature. The other ones decide to shut themselves off so that you can do what you were intended to do. This is why there's a whole conversation now about stem cells, because they know any cell can replicate any cell in the body. So the first community, my friend, that Allah created, the first ummah, the community of cells, not the community of people per
Yeah,
se.
facts.
It's the community of cells. So Ibrahim said that he is that indeed Ibrahim it was they here's how they translate it, which is incorrect. That indeed Ibrahim was a model. But look at the word they're using, ummah.
Yeah.
Where else in the Quran is ummah translated as model?
Yeah, nowhere. They
Nowhere.
be yeah. It's usually
That
as
tells me
community.
they fabricated that. Everywhere else they
Community
know
or
ummah
nation.
is
But yeah.
community or something close to it. So if he's a community, what stops him from being a community of cells as you study science? What stops me from using that, knowing that it means community, and
Hmm.
knowing that the first community in the fitra are the community of cells that make up these bodies?
Hmm.
And it begins with one cell, then it replicates, duplicates, replicates, on
Yeah.
and on and on, grows, evolves. That's what the Quran is here to teach you. Not this thing about 12,000 years ago, this prophet walked the planet Earth. Okay, he's dead now. What do we do with all that information? Is it just something to tell me that Moses split the sea and the people walked through on dry land? Okay. Next show. What good is it? Oh, it's just good for knowing that that happened in history. It gives you more faith. I don't need that level of faith. I don't need you to prove something to me by something that will never ever happen again. That doesn't make
Yeah, I knew
sense.
it, man. I knew it. All this is inside of you.
Show me something that's happening in me, with me, around me, all of the time, in every place on the planet. Then I'll come close to accepting that and believing that. But don't get me to believe in something that only because you told it to me, I'm going to believe it.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. So I'm saying that the Quran is here to even advance our scientific ideas. It's not science. The Quran is not here to teach us science.
Yeah.
It is here to give us not only a physical experience and information, but also metaphysical and
They,
other levels that we're not even
in
aware of
other
yet.
words, like God called it, right? Like Allah called it Furqan, the criterion.
Yes.
So this is the criterion that
Yeah. But Furqan also has the exact same consonants as the English word frequency.
frequency. Yeah.
You understand? How do you discriminate? How do you distinguish unless you're distinguishing frequencies? If I find a matching frequency to your frequency, I can influence you. I just got to know what you groove by. What do you like? I can get your girl. I can do all of that if I know what frequency she's on. If she's on a low base frequency and she's lustful, all I got to do is appeal to her lust. If she's one who likes a lot of highfalutin stuff and she's a diva and all I have to do is appeal to her diva. I think I lost you altogether that time. I'll wait for you to call back. Mm. I'm just recording the rest of this on audio, just so we'll have it.
Okay, I mean, if you want, I'm back on the Zoom thing.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me jump back on there. Hold on.
All right, yeah, let's do that.
I don't see you yet. I have to let you in, right?
Join. Here you go.
Okay, there we go. Okay, hold on. Yeah, we have to end this civilly.
Yeah.
So hold on. I see you coming up.
All right, you can hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see you yet.
I'll turn the camera on in there.
Yeah. Okay.
For you, right? I get the whole concept of, when they say the universe is within. Everything is.
Yes.
So yes, I'm like, yeah, Musa is, because even with this buddy I was telling you about, there's times where I've woke up and we're on the phone. I'm like, nigga, today I'm Musa, or today I'm Ibrahim, or
Yeah.
today I'm in the state of mind or faith, or you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I just even like the gym thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yo, I don't buy all this like there's an outside source or community and they got husbands and wives and this and that and they can possess us. We can like to me those just sounds like a whole bunch of fairy tales and everything because from the Quran I'm like they're created out of a fire, but it's a type of a fire, marriage and minnah, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it has something to do with pores. We have pores on our skin. There's fire in us when you get angry or
Right, you got it.
get hot, what level of anger.
And the human being is the only one who can understand those levels. You can't teach that to the deer and the buffalo. It's got to go through a human brain.
Just having got to the point where I can explain it clearly, but I'm like, yo, I just know there's certain verses and there's this. And
let me tell you, you are further ahead than I was in my search for the reality of the Quran. You are moving at jet speed. Trust me when I tell you that. So just keep on studying. Just keep on studying. And it's just a matter of time. You understand?
Yeah, and I was just like, as my buddy, like I said, it's just hard for me to explain it with words. And again, words are just, you know how we use crutches?
Yeah.
But to me, I'm like, your words are just like crutches. Get what I'm feeling or the frequency within to transfer it into this person.
You are Musa, my brother. You are Musa when he had his issue with his tongue. That's all you are. Yeah, yeah, he had a problem.
I'm like, no, that's not what that is.
He went and got his brother to explain something that was perfectly within his capabilities to explain.
It's not like
because everything is in you that's in everybody else. We differentiate based on our interests.
If you recall the verse where Allah said, I've created you for my nafs.
Yes.
I'm like, God has a psychology. For his psychology.
Yeah.
I just got to connect it how me as an insan, me as a human being, how I am the Musa or the state of Musa that's. Because one thing that's clear is God has a psychology.
Well, the Quran clearly tells you that in his conversation with Isa.
Yeah, so
Isa said, I do not know what's in your nafs, but you know what is in my nafs. Yeah. Allah describes himself as having a nafs. We think nafs is purely relegated to humans, and it is. It doesn't mean you are Allah. In order for you to understand what Allah is saying, he's got to funnel it through your level of understanding. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, nafs, I took it as, how the tradition was told or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the psychology.
It's the basis of psychology. It's the word for psychology.
Yeah, because the moment somebody dies, right? What's the very first thing we say? What's the very first thing that dies? It's your whole I, Dr. Bilal, or I.
That's right. The identity.
You lose your identity within split seconds because now the body's coming, the body this, nobody's ever says Bilal or Adnan or this is coming, and they always hit the body, the body.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all that's left.
That's it.
And in some languages, they say jinaza. Right. I just can't get my finger on which parts and what it is, but I just know it's all inside. At most, I don't know. It naturally makes me smile when anything Musa comes up.
Well, Musa, I'll say this and then I'm going to have to go for real.
Yeah.
Musa is the combinations of the meme letter and the seen letter. Seen, meme and seen, Musa.
Yeah.
Meme has to do with water. Map,
Sure.
map, right? It has to do with the water. And seen as a part of the body has to do with your teeth. People don't know that. It has to do with your ability to chew, the letter meme. All right. So you got these two things active and activated. Let me stop my phone here. We have these two things that are operating in the human psyche. So our next conversation is going to be purely dealing with the science of the psychology of the Quran. That's a new course that I'm actually starting. That's why I can speak to you on it so freely. The psychology of the soul.
Mm-hmm.
That's the topic. The psychology of the soul. And Musa is the inverted letters seen meme. You turn them around, you got meme seen, which gives you Musa. But when you leave them without inverting them, you have the letters that give you the word for sky.
Sama.
Yeah,
Seen memes, Sama, yeah.
exactly. Because they're talking about two different functions within the human system. One is the sky,
Mm-hmm.
the heavens, and the other is the earth. Musa was one whose concentration was on earthly matters. He was a herdsman. You
Yeah.
understand? Yeah, his was on earthly matter, earthly concerns. He was in trouble. He was fearing. He had to run. He was wanted for murder one by the Pharaoh,
That's a fact, yeah.
right? So this is Allah showing you by using parts of the body how the human psychology operates. Once you know what these letters mean, I'm telling you, when you go to a word like Nisa,
Yeah.
you'll never misinterpret it as women again. Once you know the meanings, you'll know that it's in males and females
Yeah,
because it's not
facts.
talking about gender, it's talking about your human urges and motivations.
Or even if we look at it from a biological standpoint, right?
Hmm.
Even as a male, you got an X and a Y, and X is usually the female,
That's
right?
right.
So
That's right.
even from that standpoint, it is in you. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
within you.
absolutely. Even if you keep going with the letters. Now you got four letters that make up your DNA.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't get there without ACTG, whatever it is they say. But you got letters. And
Facts.
you got some fools in science who just found a word to add two new letters. These demons are not playing.
Yeah.
And you know what they're talking now with all of the AI stuff.
Yeah, that's Ajuj Majuj. God, oh my God.
And that's your judge. That's why I say I don't interpret it as judgment.
Huh?
The judge.
Jude, yeah. Ajuj Majuj.
He's not,
Yeah.
he's not, they're not my judge. They might be a judge, but they're not my judge.
Yeah,
So we
facts.
got we got to be careful. But this is what the Quran will grow us into, man. We're constantly being evolved by our Rabb. Constantly. The robbers of this world, they come to take something from you.
Yeah.
The Rabb, that is the true Rabb of the Quran, came to give you something,
Yeah.
not to take. They came to evolve you into something that you didn't have, that you were not before. Taught the human being that which he before was not knowing.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay, man. We're gonna have a part two.
Yeah, no,
Um,
definitely. It was good, very intriguing. I liked it.
yeah, it's a pleasure, bro. This is a pleasure. When I'm with my company,
Yeah.
People who can think on a certain level.
Yeah.
That's my heaven.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, that gives
Now
me an
we'll
idea.
definitely continue on this. The
Yeah,
prophet's
we'll decide on
body
a day.
flipping us. Yeah.
We'll decide on a day. As you can probably tell, my schedule is very busy,
Yeah.
very,
No,
very busy.
definitely. I bet. Yeah. Just let
But
me know whatever works out. We'll make it.
we will do that.
Inshallah, God willing.
Yeah, it'll be probably early in the next few days.
Yeah. Whenever you're ready.
Yeah,
I'm all the way.
sometimes I don't know when I'm available
Yeah.
until even that morning sometimes. You know what I mean? When I see my schedule has been shifted or whatever. But it'll be soon, inshallah.
Yeah, that'll be
But
good.
listen,
That's actually good. My schedule is very flexible, so
yeah, that's good.
I kind of
So
work. I have my own shop, so my brother.
they need time to digest this first.
No, that's a fact. This was deep in
My,
there.
my people play these videos back to back over and over again, 3 times a day sometimes. I
Yeah,
gotta
that's
give them a
all right.
break.
That's all right.
And listen, maybe this Sunday, if you're free,
Yeah,
you can join the class and see how we do what we do.
yeah, definitely. Let me know about the timing and stuff. Yeah, I'll definitely come.
We'll do.
Something to check out.
It's normally at
Um,
1.
yeah, I'm pretty. Yeah, I can do that because right, a little while ago, you recalled the verse where and I guess we can. I know you got to go too, but to wrap it up,
Hmm.
where Allah says He does not speak to a bashar except through hijab,
Hmm.
through a rasul, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Those
I know
three
exactly.
ways.
Yep.
So the way I interpret or the way I understood that is hijab is like not the physical like covering of your or clothing hijab. It's like
Not at
hijab
all.
on your ears, doing hijab of the ears,
Yeah.
not unnecessary knowledge or kind of it's like Allah's kind of telling you like tune into frequencies, like just don't consume all frequencies.
Yeah.
As long as you're doing that, God will not be able to talk to you.
That's what veils are. Try to talk to
Yeah.
one of your sons or grandsons when he's listening to his rap music.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna happen. He ain't gonna hear nothing you got to say.
Yeah, so we definitely
Snoop Dogg is on TV. Mom, let me go. I gotta go. I'll talk to you later. A lot of things you can't speak to when certain frequencies are being
yeah. That's why I kind of
partitioned.
avoid talking to like scholars and mom. I've gotten kicked out of massages and places like you're a kafir and you're this and I'm like, all right, whatever.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
yeah,
it's cool.
yeah,
But yeah, I'll definitely check it out. Let me know the timing and everything on Sunday.
yeah. Well, the
And then
timing is
whenever
always one
you're
o'clock. The timing is
okay,
always 1.
one, okay.
And I'll send you the link, and then if you can join us, you join us. But let me know for sure if you know for sure that you're gonna be there Sunday.
I got you.
And I'll send you the link when I send it out to the rest of the students.
As of right now, I got you. I'm 100% sure. Unless something comes up, I'll let you
Yeah,
know. But as of right now, we in there like
that's
swimwear.
beautiful, beautiful. And invite anybody you want to.
I got you. I'm gonna definitely get my boy the buddy I'm talking about. He'll
Yeah,
definitely I'll definitely reach out to him, invite him as well. See if his schedule and timing allows.
please, please
Because
do
he's
that.
on the other side. He's on the East Coast, West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me know if you are because I'll tailor the class differently if I know that you're going to be there. In
I
fact,
got you.
I think I have another guest coming also,
Okay.
who's a business person. He's not a Muslim, but he's a businessman
Yeah,
who heard some of what Nunetics was teaching, and he just, boy, I got to know more about this.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I have to know more
Now,
about
as
this.
of right now, I'm in. I'll let you. God forbid anything changes, but we're locked in Sunday, one
Got it.
o'clock. So,
Got you. All right, my friend. Appreciate you.
all right, brother man. Salam.
Be well.
Enjoy your night. I'll talk to
Alaikum
you
salam. You also, man. If you have any family members there with you,
for
please give
sure.
them my greetings and
Salam and salam.
tell them I wish them peace and wholeness.
You too, inshallah. All right, brother man.
Alaikum. Yes, sir.